everyone, this is Legion of Guile here, and welcome to the very first episode of Legends of the Dark Knight. So this is going to be part of an ongoing series I want to do, where I just review, Legends of the Dark Knight, as you can see, different Batman stories, mainly to educate people, to let people know about some great stories or arcs that they don't maybe not know, maybe some minor stories, some Elseworld stories, just all manner of Batman related stuff. And why am I doing this? Because, I started university, I really want to focus on that, so I'm not going out to look for comic books at charity stores or secondhand bookstores a lot. But I still really want to make videos and put out content. So, and contribute in whatever way I can to the community, even though I'm not showing books. But it's still really hard here. So to find older comic books, if I could film inside my comic book store, I would, or at least take video, but it's kind of it's not allowed, so I can't do that. But yeah, it's really hard to find old comic books. So the first episode today, I'm going to be reviewing my most absolute favorite Batman story, which for those who have seen my earlier videos know is The Long Halloween. So I was actually inspired to make this video because I saw one of Doom's videos. I think it was a act of kindness from Aim High, where he received a Long Halloween hardback trade, and he said something along the lines of he hasn't read it before, or he's heard of it, or I think he hasn't read it before, and he'll check it out. And I just felt really inspired by that. He's probably read it by now, but there might be other people like Doom, Doom, who hasn't read Long Halloween before and are curious about it. So I'm here to trying to tell you guys why you should read it and my opinions of it. So I haven't really worked out a strict structure for the show yet, but I'm thinking of just going over the plot briefly. I'm not sure if you guys want spoilers or not. Some people care about it. Some people don't really mind spoilers. I'm going over spoilers. My opinion of. So first, I'm going over the plot, a brief outline of it today, the characters within the book, the art, and what my opinions about it. I guess my opinions will be strewn throughout the different segments because that's just inevitable. So The Long Halloween is a limited series written by Jeff Loeb and illustrated by Tim Sale, and it is. So this story takes place around the time after year one, I guess, if to put it into context in the grand scheme of Batman. So this is pre-Dick Grayson Robin. Harvey Dent is still Harvey Dent, and Batman is kind of new to this. He's not completely new, but he's also he's not a member of the Justice League yet. So he's still very. There's still people who are scared of him, and don't really trust him and think he's the devil or whatever. So we're still in that era, and the mob families actually are still the main criminal force in Gotham. The supervillains haven't really taken off yet, as it were. So firstly, why is it called The Long Halloween? So it's called The Long Halloween because the story takes place within the span of a year, from October 31st of 1996, I guess, and it ends at October 31st, 1997, so it's from one Halloween to the next year's Halloween. That's why it's called The Long Halloween. And basically the story is there is someone who has been killing various members of the Maroni and the Falcone family. So these are the two main mob families within Gotham during this time. And as a result, both families are about to just straight up go to war with each other. So the police need to figure out who's doing this, so Gotham doesn't get turned into a complete war zone between the mob family and Batman. He's wanting to help. He's trying to figure it out who's the murderer. So the gimmick behind the murders is that all the murders take place on holidays, I guess you could call. That's why they named the guy Holiday, the killer, the Holiday Killer, or just Holiday. Because since the first murder starts on Halloween and it ends at Halloween, and every issue, so this was a monthly release, 13 issues, so every issue would have been themed around a specific month or a holiday that takes place in that month. and I'm using the word holiday very loosely because some of them are like Father's Day, April Fool's Day. I think President's Day is one of them. So like, yeah, so every issue, like, and you can see it's on the cover. I remember the cover of the first issue is of a jack-o'-lantern because it's Halloween. So like this is sort of like the theme they're going for. So which I think makes the series read really well in trade because like the whole story is there obviously, and also reads well when you're collecting it monthly because the story starts and ends within that month, and then the next issue takes place in a different month. So like you're not like, oh, come back next month and like find out if this person's actually dead or if Batman's gonna chase down this person across this roof or whatever. So I think that was really good. Like, I know cliffhangers can be necessary sometimes to like trying to pull readers to buy the next issue. But I feel like here you get a sense of completeness within every issue because it's like it's like a contained series of events within that month or on that day actually because it just takes place around that holiday. Like that's where like all the events take place in each issue. So this is the plot. So that's the basic premise. So some just minor things about like the characters and stuff, which is the next part I'm going to. And this is one of the strengths I think of the story, is that Jeff Loeb has managed to integrate the crime-solving detective aspect of Batman that a lot of modern writers kind of sometimes overlook in favor of like shadowy cults invading Gotham and Batman and his friends have to team up to save the day and they just fight in a open area. Instead of like the go into the Batcave or like analyzing like isotopes and like blood and stuff from crime scenes. So like I really love that sort of Batman. And here they managed to capture a lot of that because this is at its essence like a mystery story, and also combine it with like elements of like the supervillains, like the superhero genre. So like, there's a lot of supervillains that appear in this series, but they're not the main focus. But that being said, like a lot of Batman's main villains appear in this, and predominantly, like this isn't really a spoiler because it's on like the cover of the trade paperback. But the Long Halloween is also one of the more later renditions of the origin story of Two-Face. So within the Long Halloween, you get to see the transformation of Harvey Dent to Two-Face, like the events that happen, and it's similar to like the Dark Knight the movie, where like you get Harvey Dent working with Batman and Gordon in the beginning, and they're like friends, even though Harvey Dent and Batman don't really trust each other. And by the end of the movie, you get Two-Face. So that's similar in that aspect. You get to explore the relationship of Harvey Dent, Jim Gordon, and Batman as friends and allies, and then around like the middle or nearing the end of it, you get to Two-Face. So it incorporates a lot of villains, like just to name a few, like Scarecrow's in it, Joker's in it. Catwoman plays like a sort of vital part in it because of her relationship to Carmine. Calendar Man's in it, like as sort of a main part because like Batman, like clearly you would think it'd be Calendar Man, right? Because that's his whole like gimmick. Like he works around calendars, he works around the holidays and stuff. But like you find out it's not him, and that like he's actually like helping Batman to an extent in the storyline, which is pretty cool. And this is still like bold Calendar Man, not like paper armor Calendar Man, where he's wearing this weird like mantle made of like pages from a calendar. So like it's just this. So yeah, and also like the Riddler's in this, Mad Hatter's in this. So like there's just tons of villains as well. And also, since this is a pre-Dick Grayson Robin Batman, you get to see him like not really darker, but yeah, you get to see him without like that sort of Nightwing Robin as like light-hearted character, as like a buffer to like his seriousness, because like he's pretty like it's not really grim as some of the more current adaptations of like Arkham Asylum is, but like it's still pretty serious. Like it's like a police procedural. Like it's pretty deadpan a lot of the time. So this story, so there's a lot of the characters in here, and and you get introduced to a lot of like new characters that haven't been really explored, especially members from like the mob families, And I think this is a good part from Tim Sale where he designed the characters that you're meant to know and care about from like the Falcones. They all look their body shape is all very different from each other. So Falcone's daughter is completely massive. She's like a truck. She's like really, really like muscular and buff. One of his sons is like a really weedy guy, and like, there's another one who like is more or less similar to Falcone in body type and like look and stuff like that. So like they look very distinct from each other from like their silhouettes and stuff. So the characters, they're all done well. There isn't really any glaring issues. Maybe one of the only problems with this, just reading this as a standalone story, is like Catwoman has a storyline which kind of like extends into the sequel, and like the sequels of The Long Halloween. But I'll get into that a bit later. So I think also another one of the strengths, moving into the next part, I'll talk about the art, is Tim Sale's art. It's no secret that I absolutely adore Tim Sale as an artist, and I think he really, really shines here. The way he draws, you may not know, but like Tim Sale's colorblind, and that's why he works a lot of the time. He works in sort of like monotone, monochromatic, black and white sort of style, and then like there's like a lot of washes and inks that go over his art. So like just like a lot of blue going over Batman or whatever. So in a lot of the panels of the Long Halloween, it's like a lots of just like one solid color, and it's like kind of broken up along the way. Like there's a lot of scenes outside where it's starting to snow around like the Christmas time, and like it's just like it's like a solid block of blue, and there's like tiny specks of white representing like the snow coming down, and like that breaks up the scene really nicely. His adaptation, his like rendition of the villains, is also very special to this story because all of them aside from Two-Face are, and Catwoman I guess, are really, really exaggerated. They always have some sort of element that's exaggerated to them. So Joker's teeth are like massive. The Scarecrow's hat is also like absurdly large, just to name a few. And like also Poison Ivy's like plant hair is also like ridiculous. Like it's really, really like big, and it's like it's flowing out everywhere. So I think that kind of contrasts with like the really nice looking mafia men in like their really nice suits, and you have like the crazy people, the supervillains who just like start breaking onto the scene, and then you have like Two-Face in the middle, who's like he's got that element of like really gimmicky costume with like the split suit and the face, but at the same time he looks really nice doing so. So yeah, overall, like I feel like it blends the two different worlds of Batman that we know, the old mafia world and like the current supervillain world that everyone knows and loves really well. And Tim Sale's art is really, really phenomenal here. I think this is probably it's either this or Daredevil Yellow, but like I feel like this is probably one of the series that like Tim Sale is very, very most known for. So going to like my final opinion about this. So what I absolutely love about The Long Halloween is, as I said previously, like Jeff Loeb being able to merge the two worlds of Batman together very well, and like the two aspects of Batman as a superhero and also as a detective very well. We don't really get a lot of Bruce Wayne in this, but I feel like it's fine because this is a very Batman story. You don't get people like there's no Vicky Vale character going to like interview Bruce Wayne and trying to like unmask him. Like there really isn't any of that. The art is absolutely phenomenal. Some people may not like Tim Sale's art because sometimes it might feel messy or like it just feels really stylized, but I absolutely love it. So that's kind of my opinion. I really like it. I feel like it's a great story because it's compelling and it's a also very interesting story. It's not too ridiculously gimmicky with like the holiday thing, like on Thanksgiving Day, like the person's not going to be stuffed into a turkey, like the person who's dead. Like it's just like the holidays using the excuse to kill them. And I think in the very last issue where like the conclusions come about, I think it's a very satisfying payoff, and it doesn't like cheat the readers out of like, oh man, it was just like the Joker all along, or like something like that, or like, oh man, it was all like a hallucination or whatever. Like, it's a very good ending, and it is also very very fitting for the story, and for its length, I think it's very well paced and very well written, especially in the dialogue between characters. There's a very distinct voice between the different characters, from like the Batman, the police, the mafia, and like the few supervillains that appear. So I highly recommend everyone who's watching this video check out Long Halloween. Potentially next week or the next episode, I'll probably go over Dark Victory, which is the sequel for this, and that one follows like the fallout of the events of Long Halloween. So like they made all the arrests and stuff, and like Two-Face is trying to like defend himself in court. Like it's not as good as Long Halloween, but like it's still a very cool like legal drama, which I find it interesting or like strange to say that about a Batman storyline. And then after that, I may go into Catwoman Where in Rome, which is like the third part in this like sort of trilogy, I guess you could say, between Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, and that one focuses more on Catwoman and like her relationship with the Falcone family, and like she goes like to discover stuff in Italy. So yeah, Long Halloween is out in trade everywhere. It's been out for like 20 years. Yeah, actually, no, this is like the 20th anniversary of Long Halloween, I think. Yeah, it started in 96 and then 97. So yeah, everyone, all of you guys go check out Long Halloween. If you guys have a certain storyline or an arc and that you want to review, that you want reviewed, so you can know if it's any good or not, just let me know. I'll review anything, like even Batman Odyssey. Like that story is really strange. I'll even try to understand what's happening in the Grant Morrison run. But yeah, I'll review pretty much anything in Batman. So yeah, until next time, this has been Legend of Guile, and this has been the first episode of Legends of the Dark Knight.